انشاءالله به توفیق الهی دشمن رو به زانو در خواهیم آورد.
The US and Iran may not have agreed on much for decades, but they used to be allies.
Iran, because of the great leadership of the Shah, is an island of stability in one of the more troubled areas of the world.
So how did the relationship between the two become so strained? And how does that link to what's happening in Iran today? Oil was discovered
What up,
in
Cave?
southwestern Iran at the start
I'm
of
alive,
the
bro.
20th century. This redefined the role of the country on the global stage and began a complex journey with the West, and especially the United States. A British company that would later become BP set up Iran's oil industry, and business was good. But over time, there were growing calls from Iranians for more control.
The problem was there was so much wealth to be gained from the oil that was being extracted that then they could see all of that money just leaving the country. And so it's that history of feeling that this is oil on Iranian territory under their ground, and they're not getting any of the benefit from it.
One of the strongest voices was Prime Minister Mohammad Mossadegh. He came to power promising to nationalize Iran's oil, which he did in 1951. As a result, Britain, supported by America, boycotted Iranian oil, causing exports to all but collapse over the next 2 years. Then, in 1953, American and British intelligence agencies orchestrated a coup to push him out.
So America saw Mossadegh as being someone who would develop ties between Iran and Russia. So basically, it was an opportunity that then allowed American oil companies to get a foothold in the Iranian market.
The coup cemented control of the Western-backed Shah, or King of Iran, Mohammad Reza Pahlavi. For the next 26 years, with support from the US, the Shah built infrastructure, started land reforms, improved education, and gave women the vote.
These very fast-paced social changes that are happening alongside this influx of enormous amounts of oil wealth into the country, and we see very fast transformations within society.
The reforms boosted the economy, but not everyone benefited equally, and some religious leaders felt they were a threat to Islamic values. Then, the Shah increased political control over society.
In Iran, under Mohammad Reza Shah Pahlavi, becomes much stronger, and he has American support to train up his secret police, to interrogate people and to try and stamp out.
What is going on, everybody? I am doing absolutely fine. Everything is good. There has been few sightings, but here goes the crypto market update. I just wanted to, some people obviously aren't historically aware between the relationship of the US and Iran. And I think it's kind of important to understand from an economical standpoint, as well as kind of historical context, just to see where this conflict is going to go. But let's talk about Bitcoin very quickly. I did drop a bit of an update today in the Discord. And one of the things I've noticed is, of course, the spot ETFs have been really piling in, and there is a clear divergence between the spot ETF buyers and Bitcoin, institutional buyers and retail. Of course, current immediate resistance is around that $74,000. Above that, we should be good to go to scrape more of the liquidity above. But really, the market continues to be bearish. So I'm going to just kind of give you an understanding of what a dead cat bounce could look like from here, providing that we could actually see prices from these lows, right? We could actually even see a 20% move from these levels. So all within the context. But even if we break from where we are, I still believe that the macro picture has not cleared. Maybe perhaps people don't want to hear that. But if you're trading, fantastic. if you break 74,000 and let's say we go up 20%, you know, prices come up to the low 90s. I think that is absolutely reasonable. It's reasonable to expect that. Of course, to the downside, it's kind of boring. We know what's happening to the downside. We know we're in a bear market, of course, and we know 99.95% of all TVL projects is absolute nonsense. We know there are a lot of scammers in the space. I have been talking to a great founder of a project this week, and you'd be surprised how they, projects definitely, what he was saying is a well-known project, right? Unverifiable revenue. So this week we've done some great work over there in the Discord, whereby we kind of said, look, if your project doesn't have fees, revenues, or stable coin supply growth, you are in the speculative territory. I think we go up for a few days and then we crash that. 100%, bro. I tend to agree with you. I think what I'm guiding against people is this ability to flip bullish and bearish consistently. I know people don't like building for the long term, but it is tough. If you want to avoid any of these negative feelings or these kind of bipolar feelings in crypto, it's got to take a lot to impress you and me. Absolutely. Do not fall for, yes, in the short term, you can make money if you're trading or if you're in the casino. But if you are here like me on a macro level and you're looking way, way ahead, crypto has its own problems. Forget about Bitcoin, forget about what's going on. The biggest problem I see in crypto right now is in a bear market, it's time to sort out who's the real builders, who are the fake ones, fake projects, fake TVL, fake revenues. And this is why I think it's even more important. I was just about to drop my RWA research report into the Discord. I haven't finished it yet. But that should take for some really, really interesting reading, right? There are very, very few projects in terms of in their own respected categories that are doing well or that will do well, regardless of where they are now. So very, very interesting times ahead of us, guys. Again, the war creates an opportunity. It's a wealth transfer. And as long as you are, people are going to be directly impacted because of the price of oil, the US dollar index, of course. Again, we talked about this time being such a great educational downtime that people shouldn't really worry about individual projects. They should more worry about what's going on in terms of their macro perspective, and also worry about what projects you're going to hold long term. I'll give you an example. The RWA research that I'm about to drop in the group will clearly show you, for example, projects like, let's take Ondo, for example. I don't think anyone even realizes what Ondo means and what they're doing, right? So a further crash into the price of Ondo should represent an amazing buying opportunity. This is the dollar index. Let's look at these four key metrics that we talked about yesterday, or that I talked about personally yesterday. But these key four metrics will kind of determine where we go short term. Okay, so the first one is the dollar index, right? So what does it mean when the DXY is either up or down? What does it represent? Why do we need the dollar to show us a clear direction of where the risk assets are going to go, right? That's going to be quite an important question always. Now, this chart measures most of the time the strength or the purchasing power of the US dollar, right? So in order for us to, I'll give you a ring for sure, bro. Absolutely. Much love to you, bro. Good evening to you, Steve, my brother. Hope you're doing well. But the measurement of the purchasing power against a basket of world currencies is quite key, right? And it matters because it's going to track the global liquidity and the strength of the US dollar. And what we need to do is, if you look at a baseline of 100, right? So you got a baseline, which means the dollar is relatively flat compared to other currencies. A dip below means the dollar is weakening, of course, and anything above 100 means the dollar is rising. Now, what we want, let me just go show you this, because I'm sure a lot of you, what we need, you can see here, look, what we need is the dollar to remain weak, essentially. That's what we need, right? Another one, or another important chart, is the US 10-year Treasury. So I think a lot of people will miss out ultimately on the, sorry, let me just put US 10-year government bonds. This is going to be the US 10. And this is going to be key because the reason why we need this is because a lot of people's mortgages are going to be directly impacted and affected by this, right? This is we got to look at the amount of interest that the US government pays over 10 years. And you can see here, we had a slight rise, but overall, if you look at this on the macro here, it has genuinely been since 2020, probably summer 25 or early 25. So since the Trump campaign, or since he came into power, this has been falling quite consistently, right? You can see that. And that's key for a number of reasons. Why it matters, because mortgages are directly tied to it as a benchmark. And the second reason why it matters, guys, is that a downward trend is an excellent news. The lower the yield goes, the lower the mortgage rates. And of course, it's cheaper for new first-time buyers. Never forget, a chart like this, regardless, if we look at this in the, on a daily level, you don't really you start to see the trend, the downward trend since the inauguration of Trump, right? You could see that we've just been sloping down. And that's going to be quite interesting because not many people are looking at the long-term yields because everything is doom and gloom. And this is why I believe when we stabilize, we will have an almighty run. In the meantime, we've got to check ourselves and we've got to remain, we've got to be hunting as well as much as we could, because some prices are very, very good. Now, the other one is the US initial jobs. Okay. And that one's going to be key as well. It comes out on a weekly basis. Of course, not a lot of people pay attention to it as part of the labor market, but initial jobs claims is also another key metric. And right now, in terms of where this chart is, because we got to at some point focus back on the Fed. Right now, the fear is going to grip the markets absolutely, and everyone's just going to be like, oh, it's either bullish, bearish, or whatever. But I think a combination of these four key charts will obviously give us an indication to which direction we're going to go. It's a weekly report, and of course, it is for specifically unemployment benefits, right? Initial jobless claims for the first time. And it's a real-time pulse to see where the labor market is. So rather than waiting for the other data to come out, you can actually look into this to see what the job market looks like. So it's a supply and demand metric here. It's very simple. If claims go up, unemployment is genuinely rising. And if it goes down, the unemployment is genuinely falling. So the trend here has been unemployment even though it's been going up, if you look at this on a longer term, if you look at this on a longer term metric since October, anyway, we have a slight decline, which is positive. So all of that means if Bitcoin, right? Everybody wants to know where Bitcoin's going to go. Well, the Fear and Greed Index has become one of the key insights into looking at where your bags are going to go. So we've had massive periods of fear here, and of course, this is all part of the extended fear for this bear market. And it does tend to behave like this in a bear market. But what we have seen is historically low fear environment. So what I'm seeing now, fear and greed, yes, it's above 25, which is good for the first time, right? It's never been this bad historically. 26, extreme fear, or in fear rather. But we have been in the longest. We've never had such a long time of market fear. So essentially, market does bounce, but is this a bullish market for spot, or is this still traders market? So basically, the fuckers are still manipulating the market. Excuse my French, but this market is liquidity driven, and this is your 1 week liquidity. And all of a sudden, we've cleared up some significant liquidity towards the $70,000 level. We have a resistance at $74,000, and now we just start to see slightly more green coming below this $74,000 or $70,000 level. Okay, so all of a sudden, the liquidity, the way the liquidity is moving, the funding, all of that looks like it's definitely a trader's market. The only difference this time round is the real flows of the ETFs. The ETFs are flowing. The ETFs have actually been very, very strong relative to where they've been recently. But who's buying? Who's selling? What's the latest data? So Bitcoin volume 3 billion, and of course we can actually see the positive net inflows here. IBIT, this is over time. This is the spot, and this is the futures. The futures, future fund flow is a lot more, but the spot ETFs anyway. The US spot ETF for Ethereum is also green. iShares are up. So this is the side that gives me hope. Coinbase institution had massive inflows, but if you look at genuine funds flow, normal funds flows, you will see that overall it's still spot is still very negative. But let's just zoom into this so you can see. So this is the last few days, right? These are the ETF net inflows, all in the green. Are we seeing any red here? Very insignificant, right? Like we are seeing majority of this, it has been green, which is great, because overall it has been absolutely red for the past. It's just been negative. But today, yesterday, the start of the war, what we're seeing here, net inflow positive 461 million. So that's pretty good. That's actually a healthy ETF flow. Again, if you look at the net inflows here, you can see we are poking above this, right? We're seeing positive inflows for the first time. And that the picture is the same for Ethereum as well. It's been relatively positive compared to where it's been, especially today. I mean, if you look at the last kind of 48 hours, right? These green bars are the amount of money that's come into Ethereum spot ETF. Ethereum as well, as I shared in the Discord earlier, Ethereum is now becoming scarce. The supply, Ethereum is due for a supply shock real soon. I think the supply is down to 16 to 23 million, as they say. So that's what's been happening. In terms of my overall prediction in the next couple of days, nothing changes for me. I'm still looking for a bottoming catalyst, largely coming from the stock market, for us to go down lower. And if we do go higher, I think we break above $74,000 and we scoop up liquidity all the way to the mid 90s, possibly even a 100. And that's what I'm doing, guys. So big up to yourselves. Greetings to all of you. Big up Jenny in the building, Cave, Steve. I think I've said hello to every single one of you here. Big up yourself. And yeah, so that's what's up, guys. That is the latest and greatest from me. In terms of like individual projects, if you want to go through these real quick. Look, Chainlink still under $10, right? So you know, let's start there. Link USDT under $10. I told you guys, once we get into a bear market again, this is the weekly. It has a bullish kind of setup for the weekly. Let me just see if I can tap this on. So yeah, it still hasn't printed a kind of a macro buy signal on the weekly, but you can see the RSI is completely out. And it is absolutely showing us that Chainlink is in a bear market. I'll always start off with the large caps because a lot of people have FOMO'd over the last few days. But we have, if we take Chainlink from 2023, we're doing exactly the same thing, guys. No real difference here. So there's going to be a period, a sideways period for you to get into generational stuff. Cave said Link is going to be one of my first when it's time. Well, this is this oracle will outlast the test of time. I think it will be, as long as crypto is around, this bad boy will obviously be there. And you can see we are now, this is 2024. So this was the 2022 bear market between here and there. And one way to get rid of any FOMO that you have is to be able to look at range like this and see how long cryptocurrencies spend within certain range in a bear market. Because again, you know, flip-flopping is probably one of the worst things you can do, right? So Chainlink was in this range for approximately it's been in this for, it was in this for like 400 something days, nearly 500 days. It may not take all of that time this time because again, Chainlink did not do what it was meant to do from the last cycle. But yeah, this is a classic 400-day bear market. And if we go from its top back in August, because it kind of went topping in December 2024, then it came close in August 2025 during the alt season, if you call it that. So yeah, we could have a few more months of this kind of sideways chop left and right price action. But Chainlink, bro, is an insane project, regardless of market cap anyway. Then Sui, but I think you get them cheaper in a couple of months. Yeah, Sui's been an interesting one. A lot of people are frustrated that when Sui goes up, they think it's all over. They can't get into Sui again. And when the price is down, you know, they want to know where the bottom is. So this is a great way of looking at Sui's market cap. Now, Sui's market cap chart is completely different to how you would probably see the, even though there's similar reflection, but when you look at this on a market cap level, it's got to break this trend, which is around 700 days old. on the market cap, and if it breaks that, I think it will be a phenomenal buy. It doesn't really, I mean, for me, Sui bottom is not really that million miles away when you actually look at different charts. However, I have exposure, but what I'm thinking is, you know what, sorry, why do I have to FOMO into these markets? I like the look of my stable coins, and nothing is going to make me FOMO unless I'm getting an amazing deal or I'm trading something, you know. Trading, yes, a lot of people can trade a 10-15% move if they want to. In some cases, the micro caps have gone up 100%. I've seen several shit coins in the last few days jumping 50, 80, 60%, 100%. But long term, man, you know, we are closer to the bottom than we are to the top. If you had to buy below $1, and you have to buy because you feel like psychologically you are going to be in disarray because you don't want to time the bottom, I totally get it. You can actually nibble your way into a beautiful bag, but there's only very few people that can do that. Everybody's either waiting for max bottom, or when the price moves up 10%, everyone's going to run in and say, oh, bull market is back on. Without even respecting the traditional bear market that we've been in for the last 160 days. Yeah, consistency and uptrend for years. I think, listen, Chainlink over the years, I think it will be a multiple, you know, couple of $100 at least in the very long term. I think it's just a crazy technology. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say no to $100. Let's say that. I mean, if it gets to 50, then 100, couple of $100 would be insane. Look at our other charts. I mean, we've missed nothing really. A massive bullish weekly candle, virtuals, reversal here. We just need to see this sustained, but it has done that before. If you look at 13th to the, you know, was it the 13th of October to the November 10th? Had a crazy move. Virtuals protocol, right? Well, a lot of these projects are, you know, they're printing a weekly oversold bullish candles, and I think Ondo is struggling at the moment. I think Ondo is gonna be one of the first to actually try and come back down. I'm not seeing the same amount of volumes in terms of the in terms of Ondo. Yo, Joe Paris is absolutely F, man. If you're listening to that guy, I feel for your bags because I've seen him make videos all of a sudden. And yeah, Joe Paris, man, Joe Paris. I think he's probably one of the entry points for newbies when they come into crypto. Joe Paris. I'm sure a lot of people have seen Joe Paris on their first ever crypto. They type crypto into YouTube and they see Joe Paris. So so yeah, I think look, Ondo's trying to finally, I think that this chart makes me excited. Could we see Ondo breaking that 26 to about 24, 22 cents level and come down massively? Bro, him and Superman, I mean, you know, I mean, to be honest, the writing's always been on the wall. Supo is more entertaining, so perhaps people watch him, but I mean, when he's talking about ass and tits and this and that and meme coins, I mean, has he lost his mind? And I know he's an investor in majority of those meme coins, right? but give it a break. It's it is absolutely insane to think that the market is back because of whatever. Market could be back. It really just depends on what what your portfolio looks like. Jenny has asked a lovely question about a cryptocurrency that I held last bull cycle. And you know what's, it's weird. You know, when you make money on a project, right, you forever look for that project, or you look out for it. So first of all, the Algorand chart, same as the XRP chart, has pretty much, I mean, how low could this go, right? This is, in my opinion, this is a very, very good cryptocurrency because it is part of those specific narrative crypto projects, right, that are meant to be or are likely to be under the Clarity Act commodities. It's weird. People don't actually understand the amount of real world utility there is with stuff like this. Now, I'm not telling you to go and buy Algorand because obviously I'm not, you know, I don't hold algo myself, but there's facts that we need to be aware of. Algorand processes microtransactions now. They are likely to benefit from anything to do with the long-term commodity of, or the way crypto is going to be played. Now, of course, you've got to look at XDC, Algorand, XLM, all of the ISO tokens in kind of one picture. But the overall use case for this, where the price is, right, this normally goes to 24, 25 pretty quickly. So in my opinion, from where it is right now, it's a bear market spot from 2020 to perhaps FTX level price, if I remember, even lower, because I was buying Algorand when what's his name got arrested. I was actually buying some to flip. So I do like it. I mean, this time I haven't actually bought any. But what you are looking at is the lows of possibly even lower than 2022. I mean, the last time we were here with Algo, it was 2023 summer. So as far as I can see, Algorand, I've never seen it this low, honestly. Even back in the, October 2022, this thing was like 10, 15. It was way higher than where it is now in their 20s. So the answer is I do like it a lot. I think it's one of those that nobody gives a damn about until they announce something major. Or it was disappointing to see them kind of like around the World Cup time. You know, they were a sponsor. Their team is top class. VCs use them. Yeah, so I do like it. I think the only thing you've got to be prepared for here, you're not going to get a meme coin movement. You definitely are not going to wait for, like, you are going to get a proper project with kind of like crypto regulation behind it. So if you can stomach to wait, just like you would with XRP. XRP doesn't move until it does, right? So yeah, if you're buying it now, I mean, you're buying it at its floor. A Superman token. Yeah, it's bullshit, man. Like, that guy, man. Come on, man. Superman should just allow it. You know, I like him. He's funny. I think he's, you know, I've always got time for him because he makes me laugh. Genuinely makes me laugh. He's, you could see he's trying and what he's doing. And then Joe Paris just comes and says, you know, buy this now. Market is back. I think it's insane. Crypto Gaming 345. What is going on, brother? Hope you are well. What are your thoughts on Casper at the moment? Casper is a long-term cook. And anyone who knows, obviously, listen, full disclosure, I have a nice bag of Casper. But let me be very objective with my analysis here. Casper is going to go through a huge upgrade this summer. Okay. Now, for those of you obviously who haven't been following Casper that much, Casper is more like, in my opinion, a project that brings retail FOMO at a certain time and purely driven from the perspective of influencers, because nobody understands the technology. And therefore, what people do is they heavily speculate on it because of its initial rise to fame. But I'm just going to give you some background to it. So it was obviously initially it was kind of like, you know, I discovered this through Reddit, by the way. It came from completely left field. And it is basically what's called a Ghost DAG protocol. So one of the problems with Casper is that it's 100% community managed. Okay, they do have the Casper Foundation, they do get donations, they do have some money, but it's 100% or was 100% community initiated. Now the problem that obviously has is marketing, developers. You know, Shai was very vocal. But one thing that's undeniable is going back to the Ghost DAG protocol, the unique technology and Jonathan Smolinski's influence in terms of Ethereum and Ghost DAG and technology. The founder is up there with one of the best. He's been referenced by Vitalik and also Charles Hoskinson as well. Now, so that's kind of what the kind of initial outlay is of this. It is also, it occupies as a place in crypto that is, it is the world's fastest proof of work, right? We don't have a proof of work cryptocurrency that is lightning fast, like really like a technological level. And Casper is the world's fastest proof of work. Whether people like it or not, 10 blocks per second will be expanded. And it has kind of like 5 priorities. So Casper's number 1 priority is hard money principles. Number 2, it's kind of like the Bitcoin security ethos, you know, by being decentralized. And it has what's called the security threshold of 50 hash rates, which is pretty significant, and it's decentralized enough, and it has a massively fast block time, and now on top of that, it has smart contracts. So if you're looking for that trilemma solver, then this is where the bet is. Like, can we get something in the proof of work cryptocurrencies that can actually be on the full track of what's known as the Nakamoto consensus, right? You know, pure form of cryptocurrency solving the trilemma. So in my opinion, that's what makes it unique. Without this retail BS aside, right? Take the retail situation out of the equation, because we know crypto is 90% of cryptocurrencies are a scam. 90, like I would probably even go higher, but let's just keep it to 90 because 10% is still going to give you about 1 million tokens, right? So if the hard fork goes well, if they get enough attention with the smart contracts, because now you have a Solana bridge, you have smart contracts. You should be able to track, TVL or total value locked specifically on Casper. So that's why I like it. And you notice when I gave you my answer, I have not mentioned price, because price is secondary to fundamentals. Like, as long as you're not buying a pile of shit where, like, for example, let's name one cryptocurrency. Has anyone bought anything from Aether? Has anyone been able to store any significant or has anyone been able to provide computational power or lease computational power from Aether? The answer is no. Does anyone know how they generate their revenues? No. Right? So the fuckers then go and raise $140 million from dumb VCs, and then every unlock becomes an opportunity to go and exploit the retail innocent crypto player through slick marketing, right? But here with kind of like, we're looking at these fundamental projects, and we're talking about we're really talking about technology. So while I do not guarantee you the Casper price of $10, $20, $30, what I would say is, even $1 is a psychological level. There is no way, or there is no reason as to why a cryptocurrency like this, once it fulfills the missing gaps, i.e. the marketing, which comes with the listings, the hard fork that's going to come in the summer. You see where I'm going with this. So I hope I've answered your question. And for me, where the price is right now, to the upside, with the fundamentals that I'm trying to explain to you, I think Casper is a necessary technology in crypto, in the crypto offerings that we have. And if I just share something with you, if we look at proof of work, right? So let's have a look at the proof of work category. And outside of Bitcoin and Monero, like you have, so this is all Bitcoin. All this market cap is majority Bitcoin. So let's have a look at better cryptocurrencies than Casper in this category. So what you have is Bitcoin. You have then the second largest by market cap, which is a meme coin, Doge. Then you've got Bitcoin Cash, and I do expect, look, Bitcoin Cash is more like it's crazy as it sounds, it's more like a store of value. Bitcoin Cash in a bear market it doesn't go down 50, 60, 100, like it doesn't do that, because Bitcoin Cash is used in the third world mostly, and it's actually used as a real currency. So that's the third largest proof of work cryptocurrency. Then you have Litecoin, same as Bitcoin Cash. That's what it was developed for. Then you have, of course, Monero, Litecoin, Zcash. So you've got two privacy coins, a meme coin, Bitcoin, and then you've got two light Bitcoins. Litecoin and Bitcoin Cash are pretty much similar. Then look at this, Casper. You come all the way down at $800 million for Casper, right? So there is a massive disconnect. You know, even up to Zcash, I would say, you have massive gaps for this to be able to go up the rankings here in the proof of work sector of cryptocurrencies. In my opinion, anyway. I could be wrong, but I think it is absolutely one of the most undervalued, and it has so much promise. I just feel like the VC funds have not looked at it. I think the fair launch, the Binance situation, there's a lot that's holding it back. Peter in the building. What's good, my brother? Hope you are very well. So this is one of my all-time favorite bros here. It's the only guy I know on this planet that's climbed Everest and K2. Big up yourself, bro. Yes, it will rally with XRP 100%. 100%. And also as well, I think there was let me show you something. But sometimes people don't actually look at. There was they're doing weird things, like they're doing real life they're doing like real life payments and stuff in like different parts of the world. So yeah, I think it's kind of weird, man. Like they're actually doing payments, humanitarian payments and all kinds of stuff. So check this out.
How you doing?
Hey, how are you? Hey, how are you doing?
Hey, you take Bitcoin?
Sure do.
Is Ethereum okay?
Sure is. Hey, how you doing today?
Good. You take Solana?
Of course.
All right, I'll take vanilla cone.
Can I get a vanilla cone? 2 cones coming right up. Tap right here for me.
Got it. Thank you very much.
Oh, it actually didn't go through. It's going to take about 27 minutes before Bitcoin confirms.
How is that fair?
That'll be $61.40. Go ahead and tap right here.
For ice cream?
Gas prices. You guys know that, though. Try it one more time for me.
No problem. How about now?
No. Oh, man. Sorry, it's a little melting here. I got it for you.
You got it.
Nope, I don't. You gonna buy? One more time. Oh, it's really good.
So they've been running these cheeky little adverts in terms of like the payment network and everything else. But yes, I think it is definitely worth checking out what they're doing with different sectors. Guys, smash the like, please. We should have more likes than viewers, if that's possible. I got bombs on my head. So get everyone to like and subscribe to the video. You are absolutely welcome, Jenny. You always ask the great questions anyway. So yeah, bro said, proof of work is serious investors, not pump and dump schemes. Absolutely, bro. Absolutely. It is a long-term investment. Look, anyone who tells you otherwise doesn't know what they're talking about, and maybe their motives are not as clear as they should be, right? Because we got to, obviously, you got to analyze these things objectively. There's a lot that's riding on what mainly influencers say, but I think overall you are definitely onto it, bro. Like, it's about looking at what's going on. Like, we don't have anything on the proof of work side that can complement Bitcoin with speed. You just saw in that last video that I played, it takes 27 to 45 minutes. You can't technically use that as money, right? Like, even if you use Litecoin or whatever, still you need fast, you need speed, and you need all of that. Absolutely. Yo, that's Alexis. That's my boy. What's going on, Alexis? How are you? Do you think Dubai is not a safe place to live anymore? I was thinking of moving to Dubai, but now I am confused. Don't be confused, brother. Let me tell you. I have been here for a very long time, and I can tell you now, you have more of a chance of being stabbed in the streets of London than you have something happening to you physically in the UAE right now. And I genuinely mean that. Look, nobody likes to hear, war is different, right? The region could be dragged. I mean, I am going to give you a responsible answer because my family is here. My daughter is in bed right now. Just to give you an example, earlier on today, the government has handled this incredibly well. They send you this mass alert text to say, everybody to their shelters, we're about to intercept something, right? As soon as it's over, they send you that text again to say, no, it's good. What I think, Alex, is I think there's going to be a massive wealth transfer in properties, in jobs, in new wave of fresh blood that come in. Am I saying to people, hunker down and live here forever? Absolutely not. It is, the war will have a solution. Every war creates the next wave of opportunities. Unfortunately, what's happening now in the age of media, the majority of the videos that you're seeing are deep fake, right? And information from the right sources, it's always important. But I think Iran will come to terms and come to an agreement. One of the reasons why the markets were pumping in the first place was that there was a leaked a U.S. official through New York Times said that the Iranians were willing to negotiate, right? And if we take it to the extreme, I mean, first of all, Trump's just asked $50 billion of emergency war funding from the Congress. How's war going to look like in the U.S. long term? Question number 2, will America put troops on the ground? Will they put boots on the ground? Vietnam, Iraq, this is not Venezuela, basically. This is it's a mountainous country of 90 million people with valleys, rivers, and different seas. Caspian Sea, the Arabian Sea here, the Indian Ocean. They have access to all of that. So in my opinion, the world right now, because the global economy is so interwoven, and 20% of the oil goes through here, I do not believe this conflict will continue for longer. And those that leave Dubai ultimately may come back. If they don't, they'll be replaced because of the quality of life, because of the taxes, because of crypto, because of many reasons. So in the short term, yes, I acknowledge the fear because I look at the sky myself. But what a time to actually watch the markets here, because I'm looking at even properties now. What's going to happen? It is probably the most looked after society in the world. The government has been protecting us. There hasn't been any reasons as to why Dubai will crumble and go to the ashes. Absolutely not. In fact, I think it will come out looking even stronger, in my opinion. So keep your long-term plans. Obviously, don't fly in now because the airports are shut. But in the long term, you gotta go through a balanced approach when it comes to things like this. And again, I know a lot of people are, for example, anti-US and all of this, but there's reasons why these things happen, right? There's the reasons. I've lived through many wars. In my life, I've seen wars here, wars somewhere else. There's a war in Europe. the most dangerous conflict in the world for the last 10 years has been going on in Europe. Why is no one talking about that? Like the Russia-Ukraine war, for me, is the most dangerous flashpoint globally since the Cold War. Or even I would say since the Iron Curtain. I would even say since Berlin was divided into two, right? So if anyone is afraid that the current crisis is going to be a new world war, then I would say chill out. Look, Putin is quiet these days, and I think the world will move on. World War One was purely the result of imperialism. The Europeans were competing for empires. You know, the Germans wanted their own empire in Africa, the French and the British. Obviously, everybody was jealous of the British Empire. And then what happened was everybody said the assassination of the Archduke Ferdinand was the cause of World War One. No, it wasn't. They were already competing for overseas territory. So that was caused by a heavy competition from imperial powers to dominate the world. Then the Second World War, well, that was purely what's called militarism, right? It was, the 1920s, the Depression, post-Depression, militarization, and then Hitler came along and we knew what happened. His troops going all the way at the gates of Moscow before being slapped back down, and there was a new world order. Now, that new world order, we came out with two superpowers post-1945, the Soviet Union, and since the fall of the Soviet Union, it's just been the United States. So what? They've been in Iraq, they've been in Afghanistan, now Iran, and the world will continue, and that this is why I think peace is the most valuable commodity. And wait till the stock market, the US markets tumble like mad. The war will finish within 2 days. Bro said, I don't live there, but I know it's 100% safe with New Orleans. The Big Easy. What would look like New Orleans after Katrina? Bro, that was sad. Katrina, in my opinion, that was, that was insane. I mean, you and I talked about that before, and New Orleans was mental, bro. Bro, Alexis said, I was stuck in the Ukraine for a month when Russia was dropping drones and the Ukraine was very scared. PTSD from wars. Facts, bro. I can guarantee you, Alex, it is nothing like that here. That's why I tell people, when all these deep fake AI is going, Dubai is burning, or the war in the Middle East is horrific. That first few days, and again, you can go to different parts of the Ukraine. You can go to what we saw from Bakhmut, what we saw from Donetsk, and Luhansk, and other areas of Ukraine. But there's no way people can compare that war. And again, I say to people, Ukraine is the closest that humanity has come to a total annihilation. And the sooner we find, peace in Europe. I mean, can you think about it? Like, we're talking about Europe in the 21st century. So I can imagine, the what was the name of the airport when the Russians were, they came in, and I think they parachuted to a small airport in northern Ukraine, north of Kiev. And that's where they actually suffered the defeat, because without that, I think they would have taken over Kiev quite quickly. And the world would have probably, now Ukraine would have looked different. But they of course, they defended themselves and possibly, won a victory there. And that's why they lived to fight another day. All right, guys, an hour is good with me. I think we've had an amazing time together. Listen, I'm gonna keep the hats on. Just go and reassure my wife everything is okay, and I'll probably see you another live stream tomorrow, guys, if I'm alive. Lots of love and peace, and we'll catch each other on the next one. Take care, guys. Good night.